A horror game that takes place in an abandoned amusement park? What sounds cooler than that? Well, I played a demo with that. I'm going to tell you exactly what I thought about that game, and also played a game that's one of the most unique, suspenseful horror anomaly games that I've ever played, but that's not without some flaws. So we're going to talk about that and more in this episode. Welcome back to Lil Zoth the Horror Podcast. I am Lil P, as always, joined by Zoth. Zoth, how are you doing on this fine day?
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah, I say fine day, but we're recording this the opening of the NFL season, and I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, and they got their asses handed to them today. And
Oh no.
there's like no hope for the rest of the season already, but that will not stop me. Will not bring me down. Hopefully. We'll see. You know what? I have some good stuff going on in my fantasy leagues. So there you go.
No, you don't.
I do.
Don't.
Okay. Well, do you want to hear this bullshit that has absolutely nothing to do with horror? But I am in 2 fantasy football leagues for my work league, or work for my job. There's like different ones mapped out. So I joined it last year. I won the championship. I was the top team. Told you how much I love football. Which kind of strangely enough, I've always been kind of decent at fantasy football. It was the first time I played it in like 10 years. And last time I did it, I won the championship. This time I did it again, won the championship. And this time the commissioner actually bought a ring to give to the winner this year. And I didn't get one last year. And I'm like, that's kind of messed up. The fact that I destroyed everybody and made y'all cry. And now you give a prize. But last year you're like, no, we don't want any of that. Anyways, that has absolutely nothing to do with horror unless maybe your fantasy football team is garbage. But to be fair, I drafted Xavier Worthy. If you know, he talked shit about Taylor Swift, so Travis Kelce took him out. That's the rumor. You have absolutely no idea. That's actually not true, but it was really kind of funny, and I fooled Lady P into thinking that was true. Just by the way that it looks. Okay, anyways, we're here to talk about horror games, not football. But if you are interested in football, y'all should.
Please, not football.
We have a community fantasy football league, actually. Join the Discord for next year. It's already started. We have played a lot of games this week. A lot of short games, a lot of demos, a lot of other things. And ones that we've talked about in the past that we're actually going head on for, which one of them was actually Emotionless, The Last Ride. I've talked about this game forever because it was one of those games that I first heard about, and it was like, oh, it takes place in an abandoned amusement park. It's like, that's all I need to know. Sign me up. I'm ready to play. And I finally got a chance to play it, and it is very, very interesting, and it's interesting. It's interesting. Will I get the full game after the demo? I don't know. It's weird because it's like it bills itself as. So you play as a character. I think his name is John Anderson, if I'm not mistaken, offhand. And you're not that your name really matters, but you're going there to find your dad, who apparently got lost in this abandoned amusement park. You're trying to figure out what happened to him. He's been missing since then.
Wasn't he the owner?
Yes. So he made the amusement park, and he went missing. And I think it has something to do with the amusement park. And I was on the idea that there was a lot to do with the amusement park. And then the more you kind of play, the twists and turns kind of don't really deal more so with the amusement park, which was kind of sad. Which is why I was like, I don't know. But the idea was great. The way that the game works, though, is it does a few things that's very interesting. So it's kind of like, not necessarily like a walking simulator type horror game, but it's definitely more atmospheric. They do have like some puzzles in the game. You know, I say puzzles loosely because they're pretty easy to figure out. It doesn't take a rocket science, pretty straightforward. But
I wouldn't really think of it as a puzzle game.
No, it's just like you got to find like where you got to push something, and then you go and you do it. But when looking at this game and the advertising that the developers have done for it, they have basically said that they don't want cheap jump scares. which I love that. And I will say there was a lot of like really good stuff when it comes to this, that the jump scares aren't cheap. Like I wouldn't really say like there's jump scares. There's a little bit, but there's a few things that will make like the hairs on your arm stand up. That's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of creepy. And I think that that's really well done with that, which is what they were going for. And they also didn't want like immersion breaking combat. Like there's no needless combat sequence. There's really like no combat at all. You're just kind of
Hmm.
more following the story straight ahead. And so it's kind of like up to you to determine, is that good? And like the whole basis is the story interesting? And my I'm kind of torn on by the end of the demo if the demo hooked me enough to want to play more,
Yeah.
because I just I don't
Because
know.
the whole
And
thing you liked about it was the amusement park, right?
yes, and I
And
feel like it
I
took a
know when
turn.
you told me you were, yeah, yeah. I remember when you told me you were going to play this, and I was like, I'll just wait and see what he thinks, because I knew there wasn't a lot of amusement park to it, like at
No, so
least in the
like
demo.
yeah, it was like the first hour or so. Well, like I mean the demo is probably like an hour to an hour and a half. I'd say the first 30
Mhm.
minutes you're there exploring the abandoned amusement park, which looks awesome. The environment there, perfect. You can literally ride all of the rides, which I was shocked
Yeah,
by, but I'm like, that's awesome. And as you're riding the
yeah,
rides, crazy shit happens. And I was like, that's perfect. That's what you want out of everything. And
yeah.
as Stella's over here, still, I don't want her to shut things down, but I think like that part is awesome. But I kind of compare it in a way to the show Lost. I love the show
Yeah,
Lost. It was one of like the first
yeah,
TV shows I watched from episode 1 to the very end. But as Lost went on, it sort of took me out of the show because it started to have like time travel and shit that had like nothing to do with the basis of what the main story was about. Like a plane crashed on an island and then weird things happen on the island and you're trying to figure it all out. And then they start
yeah.
introducing just like crazy random shit that I'm like, I don't think this really needs to be in here. And I feel like it takes me out of the story. And
Yeah, I
and,
stopped watching it.
and I don't blame you at all. It was just sometimes off topic again. I don't know if you ever heard of the movie Rubber, which is like
No.
it's a movie about a tire that kills people, like an actual tire.
Oh,
And
okay.
it is probably the worst movie I've ever watched of my whole life. And it was funny because I was in college when we watched it. It was on Netflix at the time. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore. But we watched it like in my fraternity house, and there was like probably a group of like 15 of us in the room. And by the end of the movie, it was just like me and like maybe one or two other people who were left watching. Other people were like, "Nah, dude, I'm out. This is stupid as shit." But I'm just kind of the type that kind of falls in a way to the sunk cost fallacy where I'm like, I'm so far into this movie, just fuck it. I'm going to watch the rest of it. And that's how I kind of was with Lost, because even though I hated it, I still held out hope it was gonna end well. And
Yeah,
I thought the ending was such the biggest cop out I've ever seen in my life, which I hated because I loved the premise of the show. And that's where
right.
I kind of felt like with this demo, which I feel like we're talking way more about other things than horror, which is kind of funny in a way. But all these metaphors with this, but like I don't know, like that's when I came into the story, it was like the story started getting like way more unbelievable in a way, and then you're going through like these
Yeah,
underground tunnels, which is like, what does this have to do with an amusement park? But the thing that sort of clicked back was like the end of the demo, you're back in the amusement park and then it ends. And so it's like, are we about to do more in the amusement park or
yeah,
what? And I would say like that's just where it kind of, where I'm like, I don't really know what to think. And
yeah,
I definitely think that everybody should try out the demo because A, it's free. And I think the just being able to ride the rides in the demo was just awesome. there was a lot of like cool things where you're not going to get a bunch of cheap jump scares. You're not going to get nothing like that. And I think it was very well done with that. I think the story kind of took an interesting, interesting, kind of took me out of it a little bit. It
Yeah.
kind of brought me back in, but I feel like if it would have went a little bit longer to see, okay, is there going to be more with the amusement park or are we done? And
Right.
like, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like, it's a story. I kind of like my stories to have like some, not like this could really happen, but at least show me it's not like completely crazy.
Right.
And that's where I felt like the story kind of took me out. Well, also there was another part. There was an issue with the demo. I don't think the demo was well optimized for a lot of PCs. I was probably running like -1 frame per second, and I was already on like medium settings. And I don't
Yeah.
have like the beefiest computer ever, but there was good money spent on this setup. Like it's not like garbage, trash, whatever. I got it within the
Right.
past few years, and I'm just like, I don't feel like my game should have been struggling as much as it did, and it kind of took me out of it then because I was about to just say, "Fuck it, I'm giving up on it" at that point.
Right.
When I put everything like super super low, then it worked. I just think it's more like an optimization thing, which to be fair they can fix. And I don't know if that sort of, because the story kind of already took me out of it a little bit, and I'm just like, this is starting to get a little bit stupid. And then
Yeah.
the issues that I had with the computer was just like, okay, I'm about ready to call it quits. And then we got it straight, and then it was kind of over. The demo was over shortly after that, anyways. But and part of it is probably also to do with like in my mind where I'm just like, oh, a horror game in an abandoned amusement park sounds amazing, and then maybe I had too high hopes for it. I think the
Yeah.
idea is there. I just don't know if the story like really works well.
Right. And you see that a lot in indie horror games where the gameplay and the story don't really match too well. And yeah, that's why I didn't say anything to you whenever I heard you were going to play this because I was wanting to see if you were going to be disappointed because I knew it wasn't going to be much in the amusement park. But that aside, I think it's an overall decent game, if, as long as you're not expecting everything to
Yes.
be about the amusement park, because very little is about the amusement park. It's more like just cosmetic, really, at
Yeah.
least in the demo.
Yeah, at first, like you start there, you're exploring it, you're using that to go to the next areas, and then there's a bunch of stuff. But then it's like you're dropped back off the amusement park and the demo ends. And
Yeah,
I I don't know. And I think too it's gonna probably depend a lot on the price point. It's like if this is gonna be a $20 or $30 game, it better be beefed up a bit more. If it's like a $5 game, like maybe that's fine.
right.
Um I think the premise of the story is there. I think the and it's kind of like I love SpongeBob, obviously.
Yeah.
Maybe not obviously. Well, I guess if you watch me a bunch, you obviously know that. It kind of feels like when SpongeBob was had to write that essay, and then he was like, "All right, I'm devoting all my time to it right now after procrastinating for so long," and he has just like this little cut scene, and he spends like all this time of like him writing stuff out. And he's like, I'm doing it," and he has like the prettiest "the" of all time, and it's like super artistic,
Yeah.
and like the rest of it is there's like nothing. And I kind of feel like that's what kind of happened with this in a way, because I feel like the
Yeah.
amusement park itself fucking phenomenal, well done, cool
Yeah.
atmosphere. Once you kind of get out of the amusement park section, the rest of it is kind of like lackluster. So it's like they spent
Yeah.
all this time on the front end with the amusement park and the stuff, and I was like, that is awesome. And then but where does it go? And then it's like it just kind of falls off.
Yeah.
And I hate to sound overly negative about it because I definitely think everybody should try it out. But I think too, it's just like which we'll get to later on in this episode as well. not to be super negative, but whenever I'm passionate about something or I think there's somebody has a really good idea and something just falls short, like I feel like more connected to it or like more critique about it. Cause I'm like, you have this fucking
Yeah.
phenomenal idea that I think can really get you far, but I
Hmm.
feel like just the little bit where just like it just takes you out. And I'm like, I think if you can get that straight, like I think this idea can go far. So
Right. Right. Exactly. Like a backroom survival. It's just a big
okay, that game has a
disappointment.
lot of different issues. I think yeah, the idea is perfect. A survival game in the backroom settings, phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's the most poorly
Execution,
executed game I
negative
think I've ever
0.
seen in my life with the premise. You look at the premise, that's like a class A example of goddamn, that premise sounds amazing. How are we gonna execute it? No idea. All right,
Nope.
this was
Nothing,
absolute
nothing, nothing in that was good.
garbage. Like, we're gonna kind of throw some things in there. I think it was like a very ambitious thing with that one, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I loved the actual amusement park. The fact you can ride all the rides, I was kind of shocked, honestly. like,
Yeah. They
um,
put a lot into that part of the game.
they did. That's where I'm like, they like spent so much time on that that I feel like the rest of the stuff kind of took a back seat.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the full game's gonna be or whatnot, but it was like from that part, I was really looking forward to seeing what happened. And then like the story kind of just sounded completely unbelievable to me and kind of just took me out, which I'm willing to say, okay, there's some like crazy existential forces or whatever going on. I, I don't know. The story didn't hook me the way I wanted it to. Um, but the actual amusement park and stuff, just like go spend the time to walk around that, like awesome, awesome.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah,
Very
so
resource heavy.
yeah, that was frustrating. But again, I'm willing to overlook that stuff. Give some grace to it. A lot of people aren't though, so that's one thing the developer has to kind of keep in mind. I was willing to be like, all right, I'm gonna work through it. I was really close to just giving up and being like, screw it. But a lot of people might not be able to overlook that. So just something to keep in mind. But I think the idea is there, the story is there, but writing a great story is very hard in and of itself. I ain't gonna be like, hey, can you come up with a better story for how to continue this and make it into a full fledged like 5 hour game? I don't know, probably not.
Well, it's funny. It's funny. That's exactly what I see as the problem.
Yeah,
Because I play a lot of these itch.io games. They either have a good story and totally trashy gameplay, like you have no idea what you're supposed to be doing. Hitboxes are too tiny or whatever. And then you've got games that are like, wow, this could really be something good. And then their story is so absolutely ridiculous. It's just makes it comical.
yeah,
So it's either one or the other, I've noticed. Very
and
rarely do I get a game with both.
yeah, and that's just like one of those ones that it's like if you have something there, like I want to be overly critical because I think you have something special that you can nail
Right,
down. And
right.
again, maybe it's my bias because again, I will tell everybody I think Phasmo could use a abandoned amusement park map because I think it would be badass
Yeah,
and awesome. And so a game
yeah.
based on that, like, I'm fully willing to admit that I probably have a bias towards it. But I think the idea though with that was cool as well. Like the dad created this amusement park, built it, and then went missing because weird things started happening. Like I think that like you're taking this as the design, perfect. Um I have some questions about the way the story was going because I don't think it really hooked me. And
Yeah.
that was just that. So can they fully fledge that out into sort of like was it like well this is about to take a turn because again you get dropped right off back in the amusement park by the end and then the demo ends. So were you about to do more stuff in the amusement park if this was the full game? Like maybe
Yeah.
and I'd be willing to forgive it, but then again, too, with the demo, like the demo should be like, I want to see more. And one thing that I think we both had played earlier was Pestilence, and that was
Yeah.
one after we played that demo was like, I want to see more. Like I want to play more of this game. I think it's got a cool story.
Yeah.
I think the gameplay was cool, and I want to see more. And that's how I feel like a demo should leave you for the game.
Yes.
And I don't think Emotionless hit on that, but I think it could. And
Yeah.
that's just sort of thing. I didn't expect to spend that long talking about this game, but I think I would say I think the idea is there, and just a little bit of fine tuning. But if you're like, all right, well then, partner, you write this story. How are you going to do it? But like, I probably couldn't do it. I
Yeah.
was curious how they were going to take this, like honestly, because just thinking about it is like, cool. You get to explore the amusement park, looking for your dad who's been missing. What route are you going to take? I don't know. I couldn't think of it in my head, and what came up, like I see where it could be kind of interesting because again, I don't want to give any spoilers or whatever because I do recommend everybody try it out. It's free and it's like an
Yeah.
hour long,
Yeah.
and I think it's well worth playing the demo and to judge for yourself.
Yeah.
100%. Highly recommend playing it.
I think it would be better if they did it the same way as like what's the one where they're on the boat? Still Wakes the Deep? Because it's a
Okay.
similar kind of concept. Uh but like, actually do it with the amusement park, not just some random underground sewers.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all the, distorting things in the park, making scary monsters there in the park. That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try it out. It looks awesome. There's a lot of really good things. I mean, you can even play the duck shooting mini game, like carnival game. Like it's super cool, and there's like some really creepy things in there, and I think the idea is there.
Well, I played a game
Yeah, go ahead.
on my stream called Time for Bed. And
Yes.
this is a pretty interesting new idea. And I've noticed that there's developing a genre of games centered around you playing like a handheld computer game and then uh having to do something outside of the game. Like I remember the one where you're trying to drive the car and keep monsters out of the car while you're playing a game. And then there's this one. This one, you are playing a little boy who's supposed to be asleep in bed. And mom keeps coming to check on you. And mom is a very creepy robot. Very creepy. And it's definitely a challenging game, but I had a lot of fun playing that one. That was by Nerdy Penguin. That's available on Steam. You saw me playing that.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. It did seem pretty interesting, and I know, or correct me if I'm wrong, but you said it's kind of similar to like the old Zelda games in a way. Um,
Yeah, well, some of the games were. And then they
yeah,
had like a Space Invader type game,
yeah, that was the one I remember
and you
seeing this
have to try
past
and
week
beat it.
because you
Yeah.
were trying to get past 3 levels, right?
Yeah.
And you had like maxed out at like 2 levels.
Yeah, the first time I played this, I played it on two different streams. The first time I played it, I thought I'm never going to get past level one. It is actually very challenging to pay attention to the game and make sure that she doesn't catch you. Probably more so than any other game I've played in this genre. And I've played like four games like this. I don't remember the names.
Yeah, it looks like it looked like a pretty good game from what I saw, and the premise sounds very interesting. And I have it on my wish list to try at some point. Um, but it's unique, and I think a lot of times like that's what's big is what is unique, what stands out, what's different than everything else. If we're talking
Yeah.
about completely crazy metaphors as well, one of my pet peeves, especially when it comes to music, because I love music, is you
Hmm.
always have these bands that get really big. So, for instance, Bring Me the Horizon. They'll do something
Yeah.
completely unique, like when they released their Sempiternal album. It's completely different than anything you heard at the time, and they got really popular. Okay, so what happens? Well, now everybody is creating music that sounds similar, and it's
Right.
like you forget the fact that that stood out because it was different.
Right.
And that's like when it comes to like the ghost hunting type games like Phasmophobia as well, and like everything that comes out afterwards, it's like they're trying to do the same thing, but like what stood out about Phasmo was so different. It was so unique at the time. So just creating something
Right.
that's like exactly the same, why wouldn't you just go play the original? You
Right.
know, and that's what I think like with these games that have to do, which like I said, I have Time for Bed on my wish list, and it just sounds like unique and something different that you're not going to be able to play anywhere else, and
Yeah.
that's like a good start when it comes to a game, and when it comes to ideas, which some of the ideas, which you'll hear like devil's advocate, like, well, if it's so great of an idea that nobody's done it, well, then why haven't they done it before? Maybe it's not going to be that great. Like, okay, that's fair. If that's
What?
if that's what you want to say, like it's not going to be popular because nobody's ever done it or whatever. But I think
Yeah.
unique stuff is what should stand out with it. And one one other thing, which if you still want to talk more about that one, we can. But I know you had also played We Harvest Shadows, which
Speaking of clones that fall short, there's actually clones being made of this game already, and it hasn't even been released. This
which
is going to
is
be a big game.
yeah, because they have so I have not played this demo yet. I've watched quite a few people play it. It looks to be fun, but again, if you've watched me, you kind of know if I spoil something for myself, I have no interest doing it. So I know the spoilers for the story. I've watched the gameplay, so I'm like I have no interest like straight coming out for it. But I'm interesting when it comes to survival games because this is like a one player story based survival game, which I
Yeah.
love. I wouldn't necessarily say like I like structure or a path to follow, but in a way, like if you give me a game and just like do whatever you want with it, I'm gonna get bored
Mhm.
of it because I'm like I don't think I'm super creative or because I
Not
want
me.
like
Not no 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 no. Me, I will search every stinking corner of this boring ass game trying to find hidden stuff because
yeah.
that's what I do.
Me, not so much. I'm like, hey, here is your next goal. Here's what you want to work towards. I'm like, okay, I know what to do, and
Yeah,
that's just like what
I'm
with
the
We
opposite.
Harvest Shadows here is the story is interesting. And it's kind of like
Yeah,
a
for sure.
a survival game. It has a built-in story that you're working towards with everything, and um, I am looking forward to this game. I really hope that this game is big when it comes out because I feel like the biggest detractor from it is that it's taken so long to do everything. Like from when the demo came out.
Right. And, right. And that's what I wanted to bring up. I wanted to I was actually thinking about this the other day, wondering when they're gonna release. So I go to see this community page on Steam, and they gave an update back in June, and I missed it. But the dev said he was having a lot of problems, like he felt like this was a super ambitious game for him and was digging into his retirement to try and get this done. But he finally got help and joined uh, a company to help him with that. He thought about doing a Kickstarter, and yeah, he got a publisher. So he's got like professionals to help him finish this. So when I first heard of the concept of this game, I was so excited. This is actually one of the few games that I thought that is a fantastic concept, and the demo delivered.
Yeah.
100% delivered. And that blew me away. And I played this demo like quite some time ago, so I don't remember all the details, but I do remember it was very riveting, very scary. Just the flow of how everything worked. You still had to like search for stuff. It wasn't like mapped out for you, but things weren't that hard to find, and you could just, do what you'd like. You don't have to follow, progress the story at the time. But very excited about this game. Very much looking forward to the full release of this one. Very excited about it.
Yeah, hopefully it works well. It's got that just that great, you build just a great idea. You have a farm in the middle of nowhere as you're trying to build up, and there's creepy things that happen. and
Yeah.
um, from what I remember, it ends on a cliffhanger,
Yes.
and it's
That's
and
what
it's
demos should do.
yes, and it's got like really subtle scares too, if I'm not mistaken, like where pictures will
Yes.
change, and you might notice it, you might not, but like stuff like that is just like really missing from a lot of the games because
Suspense.
I'm of the type like which we'll get into too with some of these games that we talk about where it's like somebody's just tried to do like these loud jump scares and be like, oh, that's horror,
Yeah.
gotcha. But like just the little things that can go down are way more impactful when it comes to horror, because like in real
Right.
life, if you were to have something like a ghost or whatever, like it's not going to be straight in your face. It's going to be like little things that happen that's going to like make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. It's not going to be
Yeah.
like so in your face.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, "Oh, wait, what? Like that's wait, what just happened? What is that?" And this game which I'll play the demo at some point as well. But I have high hopes for the game. I think it's got a cool idea as well. It's definitely unique. I don't remember seeing anything like this before.
Yeah.
And
That was definitely my thought too when I first heard about it. And they've got 300,000 people wishlisted this game already.
yeah,
So I think it will be big. Yeah.
that's huge. They need to capitalize. They're just like Shift at midnight. Hopefully they get their multiplayer stuff out
Yeah.
soon. Just like their great idea, but like capitalize on it, capitalize on your
Right.
popularity.
Like the Repo did.
Yeah, but as we go into games, a lot of the games that Zoth played this week, I did as well. So I'll be able to actually give
A
thoughts on
lot. You played
games.
like four. You didn't suffer
Uh,
nearly as much as me.
yeah, but you never talk about the bad ones. So, although I feel like you
That's
probably
true.
forced fed me the bad ones too.
No,
But
I didn't even get to the really bad ones.
there there's a game that I want to talk about at first.
Which one?
And Cursed Apartment. This
Yes.
game is available for free on itch.io. 100% play this game. Like
By Horror Pawns.
you can hear what we're going to say about this. I think everybody should experience this game. Honestly, I think it is one of the most unique suspenseful ideas that they have in anomaly horror games that I have found. Apparently, they are going to release a game on Steam called Floor 8, which is going to be, I guess, based on this game. And the premise is so it's very similar to Exit 8 and School 666, Hospital 666, those games where you're on a floor, you look, okay, this is how the floor looks. You go to the next level. Has anything changed? So pretty basic idea. Now, first off, this game does the fantastic job that I have, like, honestly, have not really seen done in a lot of anomaly horror games, which the suspense aspect of horror, the not knowing what's around the corner,
Yeah.
that's really what a lot of anomaly games are missing. And it's one that
Yeah.
Death Watchers does well. And it's one of the reasons I love Death
Yeah.
Watchers, because it's 3D. You're walking around. There are ghosts and whatever that haunt it, that they do try to hunt you at times and take you out. It's the same way with this game, Cursed Apartment. There are monsters there. Some are friendly, they'll still scare you. Some will try to take you out. Now, you are told to
Hmm.
ignore the monsters. They're not anomalies, which, okay, cool, fair enough. And the fact that you're there looking for changes and you're like, okay, are the changes going to be big, noticeable? Or is it going to be like a poster changing on the wall, whatever? But wait, if I turn this corner, there could be a monster there that I have to worry about. You
Hmm.
can hear them like stomping around in the background. Like, oh God, where are they at? Are they going to come get me? But I got to look. Is anything different? But there's a monster lurking. The way that this game handled that is honestly the best I've seen in any anomaly horror game,
Yeah,
because
it's really good.
it wasn't like so hard to where it would take you out. Like, I think a lot of these monsters, you could just like hear it from the distance, run away, you're safe. But just knowing that it's there, knowing where the monster is big. It wasn't like, oh, this monster is going to come sneak up on you out of nowhere and take you out, and it's going to be impossible to win. And that's
Yeah.
like really, I think, a really underrated thing a lot of people don't think about when game developers should, is, like, how easy is this monster to beat? What's a good in between to where it's not super easy to where it's nothing, but not like super hard where people are going to rage quit and not want to play my game.
Right.
And I thought they had a fantastic just mixture of it, where it was like right down the
Yeah.
middle. It wasn't like, I mean, it was fairly easy overall, because you would realize, okay, the monsters, I'm fairly safe to get kind of close to them.
Right.
But at first, you wouldn't necessarily realize it. Like, I saw one hunched by the corner. I'm like, well, okay, that's weird. That must be a monster I can ignore. Oh, now it's coming and taking me out.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta.
Yeah.
I can't get super close to it. Okay. And I thought it did a fantastic job of that.
I
Now,
agree.
where
But
this,
it has major flaws.
yeah. So again, the game tells you ignore the monsters; they're not anomalies. Ignore the sounds. Okay, that's where there are sounds of like knocking on doors that you'll walk by. It'll startle you a little bit, because again, you're worried about the monsters, and then you hear like a knocking on a door, or you'll hear like something, and it'll throw you off. And I think it's still really well done. But like, I'm fine with those. They want you to ignore major environmental changes, which for an anomaly game, I wouldn't go through that. The
Yeah.
biggest issue is, it said ignore red lights. That's fantastic. Okay. If a light's red, we'll ignore it,
Right.
except for the fact that one of the anomalies is a red light.
Yeah.
Just why? Why? And I had mentioned earlier that for games I really care about, I'm overly critical of, because I think that there's some fantastic ideas with it. And this is one of those games that I feel like I may sound overly critical of, but I think it hits on so many just perfect things that I've never seen an anomaly game hit. And the suspense of not knowing what's lurking around the corner and knowing that you have to be careful is what is so great in horror. And this game
Yeah.
captures that really well. That the fact that ignore red lights, but we're going to have a red light that's actually an anomaly that you might miss, is just stupid. And
Yeah.
what's the point? Like, so the further you go down on floor, so you're like on floor 8 and you're supposed to go to floor 1 and leave the apartment. Same thing, if you see an anomaly, you go down or you go up. If you don't see an anomaly, you go down. And you'll go to the next level. And why change the colors of the walls? The
Yeah.
further you go down. Why? Like, because you don't want the floors to be the same. Okay,
Right.
but like,
We're
I
supposed to be
think,
spotting the differences.
yeah, like that's a major environmental change. But now, what are we considering major environmental changes? Lights being off that are normally on. To me, not a major environmental change.
Right. That
According to
sounds like an
this,
anomaly.
yeah, according to this, that is a major environmental change. Because there were two
Yeah.
lights that I know, hey, these lights are usually on. Now they're off. That's an anomaly to me. No, not an anomaly.
No. Right.
Why? Like major environmental, like the colors of the wall changing. Okay,
Right.
I that to me that's major enough to where I'd be like, okay, I can ignore it. But
Right.
like a
But
light
a
bulb,
light being off, yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
no, to me that's not a
And
major change.
yeah, my biggest gripe was I got all the way down to floor one. Floor one is drastically different
Yes.
from the rest of the floors. So, and the front door is right there. So I think I'm going to leave. But no, there's an anomaly on that floor. So it tells me there was a ghost face somewhere. Now, okay, if you're doing an anomaly game, you have to give a control so that we know what we're looking at, so
Yeah.
that we know there's going to be an anomaly. What I think happened with this game, and I totally agree with you, this is actually one of the better um, new anomaly games that's come out, but it is so majorly flawed because of this, because they're not very clear with what is an anomaly and what isn't, and they blur the lines. But I do think they did it on purpose. I think that they were trying to go for um, like longer gameplay,
Yeah.
or, just trying to throw you for a loop, they're trying to make the game more enjoyable, but what they did was that they cut out the whole, puzzle reward satisfaction that we get from playing games. And it turns into something a lot more frustrating. And it's even more frustrating because the game is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was seemed like it was more of like a I got you, you'll never finish this. Like I got
Right.
you, this completely different and you couldn't see it. And it's like,
Right. Like I worked for that level one,
yeah.
and then they just pulled it out from under me like that. Like I could see it going, so, oh, you're still stuck here. This is phase two. That would be totally acceptable because I would be moving forward. But it just took me back to level eight because I didn't know there was an anomaly on that last floor.
Yeah. And the level is completely different. Like not even the same setup, not even the same nothing. And you don't even know what
Right.
you're looking for. Like how do we know what's different if we've never been here? Um
Yeah.
and that's where it did make it seem like it was how you're never going to beat this game. And I think both me and you didn't actually technically beat it. Mostly
No, neither
because
one of us did.
no, it's like forget about it. Like I even went on the mode where the monsters wouldn't attack you just to try to go down and be like, well, what the hell are we supposed to look for? And
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna do with their full game. Um, but I don't think anomaly games don't have to be extremely difficult with crazy minor changes or even like this where you're going to a completely different thing and be like, oh well, how did you not notice this? You know,
Yeah.
type thing. It doesn't have to be that way. And I think that they have it down packed of how to build suspense in an anomaly game, unlike anything
Mm-hmm.
I've seen.
Yeah.
And don't try to like reinvent the wheel or make it just super super difficult for like frustratingly difficult for like no reason. Like, oh well, we're gonna give you a whole different floor, and how did you not notice this? But
Right.
like, it's that's not the point
Well, I hope
because
that they've gotten that feedback and that they're going to make it better in the full release. I'm hopeful because it's a
yes,
really good game.
it's a
It's solid.
really good game, and like I said, I highly recommend playing it because it has that suspense in anomaly games that you really don't tend to get. Because a lot of them you're either behind a camera just looking, being like, okay, well maybe there's like a creepy monster here when I go to this camera, or even
Hmm.
like Death Watchers where you're walking around and the monster is hunting. Whatever, some of that stuff is like pre-telegraph. You can see it coming.
Yeah.
This was just it was just different. Again, this is free on itch.io called Cursed Apartment. Check it out. Highly recommend. If you love anomaly games, anomaly horror games, even if not, like I think you might end up enjoying this because it is different with the way that the monsters are lurking and all of that. That I think the idea is there for them to build upon. That I think they can have a really, really successful game because
Hmm.
when I first started playing this, I'm like, this is really different. Like, and if you can catch it like right away and be like, okay, I'm actually on suspense, on edge playing this because there's
Yeah,
stuff like lurking, and I'm like, I don't really feel this way for anomaly horror games before, you know, because even
yeah,
in like School 666, like, yeah, there might be something that might jump out at some point, but there's not the threat of something constantly lurking while you're
yeah.
going around like corners and stuff.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And it's not like it's extremely impossible, and then they try to make the game like impossible because the monsters
Yeah.
themselves are easy to survive and get around. You just have to know what you're looking at, which is part of the anomaly game.
Right.
You learn what to do. Yeah, I could talk great things, annoying things about the game. I highly recommend everybody check it out. Curse Department. It's on itch.io. Floor 8 is available for wish list on Steam. I'm looking forward to the full release because I really think they have a great idea here, and
Me too.
they've figured out a lot of things well. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to act like you're smarter than everybody else. Just get that stuff straight, and I think they have a chance to really set themselves apart in the anomaly horror genre.
Absolutely. I agree. Let's talk about Fractured.
Oh, that was interesting. That one was interesting. Go ahead.
Well, it's an extremely short game, another pixelated convenience store situation, and very, very, very frustrating to play.
That is fair.
Was that your experience?
That is. And again, with the thing where I wouldn't say like overly critical because this you kind of could be critical. The idea was really cool. I didn't realize going in. It was kind of like a history lesson in a way. Like you're playing a history lesson,
Yes.
and I didn't realize that at the time. But the goals in the game weren't very clear with what you were supposed to do, and the most annoying thing was where the game ended and you what you had to do you couldn't do. It was like grab
Yeah.
this newspaper out of this area, and there was no fucking
Yeah.
newspaper there, and just what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? Uh,
Yeah. It was like that every step of the way for me. Like, I'm supposed to go grocery shopping. Okay. I go in there and you have no way of knowing what is what. So you're just clicking everything.
yes. Yep, that's what I did too. Yeah, you're like, oh, I have to go shopping for groceries. Here we go, and you're like, okay, I need all these groceries. I don't fucking know what this is, so you just go in and clicking everything. And
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. It's based on a true story, apparently. I mean, I don't know if
Of a
it could have been
serial killer.
fake. Yeah. So you were like basically a serial killer's victim that you were living out, and you were living out the time that the serial killer got him. And I didn't realize that at the time. After it was over, I was like, damn, that's a really fucking cool premise that I don't remember ever playing before.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really cool and an interesting way to sort of learn about things. I never heard about this dude, whoever he was. I can't remember his name right
You
now.
never heard of
Wait, was this?
you know you've heard of him.
No, it wasn't Ted Bundy.
Yes.
That's what it was. I don't remember
That's who
that.
it was.
I thought it was something else.
No.
But okay, well, yeah, obviously I've heard of him. I thought it was some I never heard of, but I don't know. It's probably partly too because the game kind of took me out of it by that point because I was so frustrated. I'm like, I'm supposed to grab this fucking newspaper and I don't see it. Let me just walk away. Oh, game over. Okay, cool. Oh, wait, this is actually a pretty cool premise. But what the fuck? Yeah,
And it
I
was
thought.
2 minutes long.
Yeah, it was a very short game, so you know it was what it was. Fractured, available on itch.io, but
By Phoenix Apple.
yeah, it was like the idea, the premise was there, but good lord, I mean, the execution of that was it could have been done a lot better.
Yes.
Because when it was over, I
Speaking
was
of,
like, hey, that was cool. But then, meh. Go on. What was the next one?
speaking of, we also played a game called Human Harvest.
Oh yeah,
How did you like that one?
that one was another short one. I thought the idea for that game was cool. You're going to an abandoned farm, or well, not an abandoned farm, but you're broken down middle of the woods, trying to get gas. You go to this farm, and it's filled with creepy people. And great premise
I
with it.
guess they're cannibals.
I would,
Yeah.
yeah, the name sort of would make sense for that, but they're like, you're just in time for the harvest. But your goal there is to try to find the fuel to fuel up your car and leave. Um, can you find it before they get you? That's the gist of it.
Yeah, very short also.
Yeah, very short game, straight to the point. The premise, very well done. It fell into the trap of loud equals scary.
Yeah.
So there were a few things where it just like made loud noise. So when I actually turned down the volume for the game, made it way much more bearable. Um, I think if they would just fix those things, they would have been a better overall experience. But the idea I thought was cool enough with it, and
Yeah.
once I turned down the volume, I was like, okay, let me, because you're gonna fail a few times because you don't really necessarily know what you're looking for. But then by the time you figure it out, like I thought the idea was good. The execution could have been a little bit better.
Yeah. I thought it was a solid and fun game. I really enjoyed it, but the it was extremely short.
Yeah,
There could have been more to it. I felt like it was rushed.
just too loud, and like just you don't need loud jump scares to actually be scary.
Yeah, I thought it was good enough on its own to not need that kind of jump
No,
scare, honestly.
'cause they were pointless. A few of them,
Yeah, yeah.
like
Because after the first one, it doesn't affect you anymore. It's not a
no,
good
but
one.
like I mean
And
you
the monster was easy to get away from too.
yeah, I mean you start the game, and I don't even think there was a jump scare there, but a loud noise, but you had like a head that like popped up around the crops and then went back down. Like that's
Yeah, that
cool.
was very random.
Yeah, like that's like the kind of thing you're like, okay, that's kind of fucking threw me off, but you don't need like a loud like as soon as that happened, because then it's like, okay, that's fucking stupid.
Right.
Which is
Yeah.
sort of the way that I feel with some of that stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I thought the map itself, I mean, like the premise and everything, cool thing. I enjoyed playing it. Especially once you turned down the volume and didn't blow out your eardrums for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, that was by Lowell Scrubs, Human Harvest. The dev is called Lowell Scrubs. And then we played, oh, you didn't play this one, but I played one called Father Figure, and that's from the Windy Project. I'm pretty sure I played something else by them. This one was really weird and dark, and it was too short for the story to make a lot of sense. Like if they fleshed it out more, I think it could have been a really good creepy dark game. But because it's such a short game, the whole story is not very effective because it is a kind of a convoluted story. It just ends up being a little confusing. Your parents die, and then you fall into some bad, uh, habits, and it just gets dark. But it doesn't really do the story justice. I feel like it has a good story. It just wasn't fleshed out very well at all. And the gameplay itself had some flaws. Like it tells you go take a shower, but if you go to try to take a shower, it doesn't work. but it doesn't tell you the game actually wants you to clean the shower first before you take a shower, but it never says that. So little stuff like that. I felt like this was very rushed. A really good story and concept, but extremely rushed.
Hmm. Yep, did not play that one. What
But
the?
you did play Gutter Night
Yes, that one
by
was.
Wastier. I don't know how to pronounce that. But yeah, that was a fun little slasher game with their goofy Roblox type of character avatars.
Yeah, yeah. You go work at a bowling alley at night, and then creepy things start to happen.
Yeah.
And I thought for a little story, it was pretty pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I thought like if it was I mean the monster is kind of goofy in a way,
Oh yeah.
but I mean that was perfectly fine. I had no complaints about this. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
like this one too. The gameplay was smooth, the story made
yeah,
sense. The story flowed perfectly. It was just too short.
yes, I was expecting longer, and then some of like the cleaning up stuff was kind of hard to figure out what needed to be cleaned and what didn't. But
Yeah.
either way,
That's a lot of these games
it was perfectly fine.
are like that.
Perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
This other one you didn't play though. This was Project Maze by Vuk Dobrik.
I know I've heard
You
that
didn't
name
play that
before.
one. I know because I cover his stuff all the time. This guy's a maniac, just pumping out games. This one, he's in the description. He says he made this one in just a few days while working on other bigger projects. Like, can you imagine working on a project and then you start a side project to relax from that other project you're working on? I don't know. This guy is crazy. But it's extremely short, and this one was really odd. There's a lot of flaws in this, and of course he said he just made this in a few days, so I'm not gonna like say it's I'm not gonna trash it, but it was very weird, very confusing. Nothing. I thought I had soft locked the game actually because nothing was happening. I walked out into the maze, and this game was modeled after the maze in The Shining,
Hmm.
so it has that vibe to it. But nothing was happening, and I legit thought I'd somehow missed a cue and soft locked the game, and I started it over. But what happened was there's notes on the ground that you're supposed to pick up to trigger the next thing that happens. But they also made it so you can just read it without picking it up. And I didn't know you could pick it up. It took me forever to figure that part out. And then they have these giant Easter eggs that you're supposed to collect. Didn't make any sense at all. But of course, it's Book Dobrik. I look forward to whatever big project he has. Um, I don't know why he chose giant, brightly colored Easter eggs for this. It was so out of place. But yeah, that the last one we did, you also played this one, Pet Sitting, like Goose
Yes.
Nest. I wanted you to play this one. This one I really liked. This and Gutter Night are my favorites out of these.
That one, it was a game.
You
It was a
didn't
game.
like it as much as I did?
It was a game that was played. Uh,
So you're pet sitting for your friend's pet worm, and the worm's name is Dog. And it's you basically just have to take care of this gigantic worm, and you never know if he's the worm is going to just like bite your head off one of these days. And I think that's where the true horror comes from. But in reality, it's a really cute little game. I liked it.
it was a game. It was a game that I played. I didn't really have much thought about it. It was certainly I mean, it was well made. It was well made. Like
Yeah.
I guess. Well, other than the trying to figure out how the hell to sleep, that was stupid. But
Yeah, the trigger for that one was so tiny and in a weird spot. But everything else worked out okay.
yeah, yeah. Rest of it all made sense. But yeah. Before we get out of here, there was apparently a major update that happened in the other side, which we had talked about last week, where they have released their cemetery map. So coming up this week,
Yay.
we're gonna actually be playing that map. So make sure to follow us on Twitch, YouTube, wherever. We'll be, well, at least I'll be live streaming it, and be sure to check that out. That's a fantastic ghost hunting game. Look forward to playing more of it. Look forward to the map. So part of it is based on a real cemetery, and it looks really good. And so looking forward to trying that out. And
Yeah.
we'll see how that one goes. Anything else you're planning on playing, or anything else you'd like to say here to close us out?
No, I haven't picked out my games yet. I usually do that the day before stream.
Yeah. So
I've been playing a lot of stuff though, so
yeah,
I have no idea.
I'll be playing more and more of these indie games just like this. So hopefully you'll enjoy the episode. This went way longer than I was expecting this episode to take, but a lot of things to say about some games that had really cool premises and could just use a few things to hopefully set it up. So follow us on Twitch. We'll be streaming these games that we talk about. You get to see it live or watch the VOD. Either way. But yeah, make sure to leave us a review if you're watching us on iTunes or Spotify or wherever. Follow us, subscribe. Happy hunting, everybody. Check out the previous episode where we talk more about the other side, actually, and some other games. So we'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.